Rutland Water is one of the most recognisable landmarks in England's smallest county, but it is not ancient. In fact, it is a modern landscape created in the 20th century on a huge scale. Before Rutland Water existed, this was the valley of the River Gwash, with farmland, hedgerows, lanes, and small settlements spread across the landscape. The idea of turning it into a major reservoir emerged in the post-war years, when planners looked for ways to secure long-term water supplies for the East Midlands and beyond. The project became known as the Empingham Reservoir Project, and it was one of the biggest civil engineering schemes ever undertaken in this part of the country. A vast earth dam was built near Empingham, and new pumping systems were created to bring in additional water from the rivers Welland and Nene. This was not simply a lake dug into the ground. It was a carefully engineered reservoir, designed both to store water and to move it across the region when needed. Construction began in the early 1970s and transformed the surrounding countryside. Roads were altered, pipelines laid, and huge amounts of earth moved. The scale of the scheme was enormous for a county like Rutland. When completed, the reservoir had a capacity of around 124 million cubic metres of water. But this new landscape came at a cost. The creation of Rutland Water meant the loss of older communities in the valley. Nether Hambleton disappeared beneath the rising reservoir, and much of Middle Hambleton was also lost. Homes, farm buildings, and old lanes vanished, and people who had known the valley as working countryside saw it become open water instead. For many locals, the project was controversial and emotional, as well as impressive. The reservoir was officially opened in 1976, and over time it began to take on a second identity. It was not only a water supply scheme. It also became one of the region's most important places for wildlife, leisure, and tourism. The western end developed into a major nature reserve, attracting thousands of wintering wildfowl and becoming nationally important for bird life. Then, in the 1990s, Rutland Water became famous for something even more remarkable: the successful reintroduction of ospreys to central England. That project helped turn the reservoir into one of the best-known birdwatching sites in the country. At the same time, Rutland Water became a centre for outdoor recreation. Sailing, cycling, fishing, walking, and family tourism all grew around the shoreline. What had begun as a controversial engineering project became part of Rutland's identity. So the story of Rutland Water is really two histories at once. It is the history of a lost valley and a new reservoir. A place shaped by engineering, loss, adaptation, and wildlife. A modern lake, but already full of history.